Hi, and welcome to the Haverhill Journal, where we give you a quick look at what's going on in our city. I'm Lindsay Paris, and this week, on its anniversary, the Journal is taking a look at the city's most devastating natural disaster of the 20th century, catching up with what happened at last week's Possible Dreams, and talking about what's going on at Haverhill Idol and Inside Out Haverhill. But first, downtown demolition has reached a crescendo as the long-awaited demise of the Woolworth and Newman's buildings finally became a reality this week. Construction crews have completed the final phase of the demo out to White's Corner in preparation for Harbor Place, and the Haverhill Journal was on site to capture it all. It's the moment many have been waiting for years. After 40 years of vacancy, the Woolworth building is no longer. White's Corner, one of the city's most visible locations, has undergone a major transformation since January, with 4 dilapidated buildings gone and the Merrimack River visible from Lower Merrimack Street for the first time in over a century. Any way you look at it, the effect is dramatic.
It's awesome to see all these buildings that have been here for all these years finally coming down for something that's going to be transformative and really help economic development and the beautification of downtown and really get people coming down and using the river once again.
Light lines are being opened up, and that hasn't been seen in generations. And we were doing some research, and we found maps 1885. And at that time, in 1885, it was still showing two back-to-back sets of buildings, in fact, between Merrimack Street and the river. So if you figure 1885, those buildings are maybe 60, 70 years old, you're back into, the early 1800s. So you're talking about close to 200 years. You've probably not seen this view of Bradford.
Residents are welcoming the change to the city's riverbanks and what it means for downtown.
It's mesmerizing to watch the cranes and how it all kind of falls and moves, and it'll be a good thing for the city to have some new infrastructure and new life and new business. It's been a long, hard road for the people who own these buildings, so it's good to see it happen.
All of the changes that are taking place, for a brief while we'll be able to see across the river and see Bradford, and then of course it's going to disappear as time goes on. It's putting a new face on Haverhill, which is good to see. So I'm very pleased with what I'm seeing here. A lot of history is going, by the way, but it's being preserved in a good way, and as a result, what's happening is we have something to replace it, a new history taking its place. I'm happy about that.
Very excited. I'm actually a student at UMass Lowell, so to have a satellite campus here is very exciting. Looking forward to that. So hopefully the construction takes place quite quickly.
Merrimack Street's riverbanks have been a hub of activity since the city was founded in 1640. But you may not know that even the naming of Harbor Place was done with an eye to its historic significance.
We have a shot of a large 173-ton vessel at the Black Rocks at Salisbury Beach, and there's maybe in a kind of a flat-bottom 2-level ship. And we look closely at the name of that ship, and the name of the ship was the City of Haverhill. So in 1885, they were using the river to, again, recreate and also do commerce and such. And 2 of the schooners at that time that were anchored just on the other side of the Basileia Bridge. And that's really part of the reason why this is named Harbor Place.
Now that the demolition is done, people are thinking forward of what's to come. Plans are moving quickly as construction is expected to begin within the next 6 weeks at Harbor Place.
Flood wall's been a barrier. The city's not been able to get to its river and on its downtown. But with the new design, with the parking garage under, and you'll be able to walk on grade from Merrimack Street to the top of the flood wall, the city downtown is reconnected to its river after all these years.
With what's happening here now that the buildings are coming down, I think you're going to see a lot more activity and a lot faster pace once the buildings are completely down. You can really get at the infrastructure.
Yeah, I think that's the time frame, and moving into delivering product in 2016, first quarter, second quarter time frames, and hopefully be ready to have UMass in that fall.
The Haverhill Journal is down at the construction site daily and will continue to bring you the latest developments, so stay tuned. With all the buildings now down, site cleanup will continue for the next 2 to 3 weeks. The site is forecast to be cleared and ready for construction by the beginning of April. While we watch the current Lower Merrimack Street transformation, at the very same spot 79 years ago this week, the Great Flood created major devastation. On Thursday, March 12, 1936, the Merrimack River began rising, and it continued to hover above flood level for over a week, as the Journal is remembering today. This week marks the anniversary of one of the greatest natural disasters ever to hit New England. The largest flood in the history of the Merrimack Valley began on a rainy day in March 1936. Rain began to fall heavily on Thursday, March 12th, a steady rain that did not let up for 2 weeks. The rain, along with a stalled warm front and an above-average snowfall that year, began a chain of events that would end in the Merrimack River reaching never-before-seen water levels.
The disaster of 1936, the flood that really ravaged Haverhill, it was one of the worst things that I have ever seen in my lifetime. There were so many people that we knew lived along the river that they had to get out of their homes because it was just flooding everywhere.
A week later, it was obvious that what the area was experiencing was a disaster unlike any other.
I was a freshman in high school, and I can remember they let us out of school a little early because the water was rising all the time. And so what they had to do, is because Merrimack Street was flooded and it kept coming up, they sandbagged each side of 125 to go over the bridge because the kids had to walk across the bridge to get home,
At that point, an official Haverhill log of all flood-related events was started.
The Haverhill flood of 1936, Thursday, March 12th. Merrimack rising, ice not broken up in the upper part of the river. Friday, March 13th, river still rising. Calls from upriver indicate flood condition reaches highest point in 40 years. Wednesday, March 18th, steady rains and warm weather in upper New Hampshire cause a new rise. Slower than the 12th and the 13th, but as great. Mayor again organizes emergency forces and flood alarm sounded. 5:10 p.m., 22 feet, previous known maximum, 1887 and still rising. 9:30 p.m., first logs through Groveland Bridge. 10:20 p.m., several families driven out by water in the Riverside area. Friday, March 20th, 12:30 a.m., 24.4 feet. Transformer on Merrimack Street shorted. Some lights are out. Washington Square completely covered. Water in Emerson Street.
The river would just come up to those, stores and, where Mitchell was, it would come up way up there. And the people down in Riverside, they had to get out of their homes, They lost everything.
The water reached its peak around midnight on March 21st. I'm here at the Water Street Firehouse, where there's a marker up on the wall behind me denoting the highest point the river reached during the flood of '36. But now, looking out at the river beyond, it's hard to imagine that this parking lot was once underwater. As the water receded, the damage was revealed. The Haverhill Gazette reported on March 21st that the damage to Haverhill was estimated at around $1 million, which is $17 million adjusted for inflation today. The flood may be gone, but its legacy can be seen all along the Haverhill side of the river to this very day. I'm standing here next to the flood wall behind the buildings on Merrimack Street. You can see how tall this is, about 30 feet to be exact. Now, this wall did not exist back in 1936. It was built in 1937 as a direct result of the prior year's natural disaster.
The disaster of 1936, the flood that really ravaged Haverhill, it was one of the worst things that I have ever seen in my lifetime. My girlfriend, her mother and father's place got wet, and they had to leave. They couldn't stay there. And then it took quite a while for them to get back living the way they used to.
Big changes are taking place along the river, but don't forget, it can be unpredictable. Because of this year's record snowfall, meteorologists say that we could be in for a 100-year flood event. So let's hope for the best. The city has seen a few small floods in the ensuing years, most recently in 2006. But the construction of the downtown flood wall has, fortunately, prevented the reoccurrence of rising water in the city's center since. What would you like to see for your city, and how can we make it happen together? Were the topics of the evening at Team Haverhill's annual Possible Dreams Summit. On the evening of March 2nd, over 125 people gathered to discuss their visions for the city, and HC Media was there to bring you the details on what Haverhill's future may have in store.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Possible Dreams 2015.
The Possible Dreams evening opened with presentations from Team Haverhill President Alice Mann and Mayor Fiorentini.
What brought you here? What do you love about Haverhill? What brought you here? And what can we do to attract other young professionals to our city? Because that's the key to our city.
Later, attendees broke into small roundtables, choosing from 20 topics of interest, including youth engagement, open space preservation, and creating a food co-op.
Well, this is the first time we've tried it like this. We've been doing this for many years with the cafe style, which is the first round that we did here. But tonight we actually had all the events picked out before the event tonight. People submitted them, and we picked, I think it was about 20. So we didn't know what to expect, but from everyone we talked to tonight, it really went well, and I think hopefully there's another format to do again next year.
We were really thrilled right from the beginning of the registration process that so many people wanted to lead groups, and when we realized we had 20 topics, it seemed a little overwhelming, but people handled it beautifully, and the roar of energy when people first went to the groups, I mean, it wasn't haphazard or sort of, I guess I'll go with this one. I mean, people really seemed to want to be where they were and have a lot to say.
This was the first time I had been to this Team Haverhill event, and we were so thrilled. We really, the people that I spoke with, everyone is so positive about Haverhill, of what might possibly come out from these activities. I am on the board to try to bring a food cooperative grocery store to the city, and we've had a great positive reaction from that. A lot of good input, a lot of good ideas, and that's what we were looking for people to tell us, is this a good idea? Do you think we should do this? And how should we go about bringing it for you? So it was a great night.
Groups enjoyed a lively exchange of ideas and action plans, which were later presented to the forum.
I think hearing about what everybody is doing at the end was really great, and being part of a discussion group was great too. So I was interested in what the group that I went to, and I met new people and learned what is actually going on behind the scenes a little bit, so it was nice.
More young people than ever before were present at this Possible Dreams, thanks to some of the inventive new initiatives on the agenda, like disc golf, young adult public art, and a new skate park.
Currently, there is no great skate spot here in Haverhill. We have a skate park that was built, I'm not sure when, at Cashman Field, out of sight of the public, out of the sight from law enforcement, so it's covering graffiti. It's poorly designed, so it's hard to go learn to skate there, or parents don't want to send their kids to skateboard there. Nationally, it's the third most popular activity for kids ages 6 to 18. And in Haverhill, that's about 11,000 people, which accounts for like 1/6 of our population who could benefit from a public skate park. Having a safe place to go skateboard and be an individual and get creative on some pavement is just something that we need in our community.
Now, I think some people met each other who would never have met each other without this venue. Someone observed that we brought down the average age of this event by decades tonight, and I think it was the ability to propose initiatives like skate park and recreational golf and stuff. It just hit a different demographic to a certain extent.
It was a great night. Lots of people, lots of energy. It's really great to come to an event like this and see people that care about Haverhill.
I think Possible Dreams is one of the biggest things of the year. It gets the mayor, the councilors, the citizens, business owners, So for us, I get very excited about this every year. As you can see, I'm very excited.
All different people came, all different backgrounds and walks of life, and it's interesting. You get the chance to talk to somebody that might want to boat a house or somebody that might want to have, retail space downtown. So it was a great opportunity.
If you missed it, the Possible Dreams event will be broadcast in its entirety here on Channel 22 in 2 weeks. Spring is on its way, and that means it's the time of year when Haverhill's most talented youth singers try for their chance to be crowned Haverhill Idol. HC Media will be holding tryouts for Haverhill Idol here at our studio at 60 Elm Street in Haverhill on Saturday, April 4th and Saturday, April 11th, beginning at 10 a.m. Tryouts are open to children in grades 2 through 12. If you'd like more information on how to register, call us at 978-372-8070 or visit our website, haverhillcommunitytv.org. This summer, the Global Inside Out project is coming to Haverhill, and you're invited to take part in this community public art project. Inside Out Haverhill is sponsoring a public photography session on Monday, March 23rd from 3 to 7 p.m. at Maria's Family Restaurant, 81 Essex Street, where the public is invited to come down and be photographed for a $20 donation. Alicia's Makeup Academy will be at the shoot, providing artistic makeup and props to help you express your creative side. Pictures will be made into black and white posters and exhibited downtown through June, July, and August. For more information, contact insideouthaverhill@gmail.com. If you have a story or event you'd like to see featured on the Haverhill Journal, call us at 978-372-8070 or email info@mediahc.org. And don't forget to like us on Facebook or at our YouTube channel, HCTV Haverhill. And that's what's happening in Haverhill the week of March 12th. I'm Lindsay Paris, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.